In 1975, we were the first to provide teacher education for community languages teachers in New South Wales. In 1992, the first to provide professional development for teachers in New South Wales community languages schools. And in 2008, the only university to introduce languages teaching units into our primary school teacher education system. The School of Education and Social Work in particular has been partnering with the New South Wales Department of Education for the professional development of community language teachers in our schools. We've had the Certificate of Community Language.
Good morning, everybody. I am so absolutely thrilled to be here today. Can I start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we stand and pay my respect to elders past and present. Can I acknowledge all of the special distinguished guests today that have been mentioned, in particular everyone associated with Sydney University in this wonderful program. I want to especially thank my parliamentary colleagues that are with me here today, Minister Dominello, Minister Williams, Dr Jeff Lee and Mr Damien Tudor-Hope. The four of them, along with myself and our government, have been such strong advocates in supporting and elevating the importance we give to our community language schools and to all the students learning community languages. Thank you for the applause. Now, I must indicate and express a conflict of interest in my own personal background. I grew up attending a Saturday language school, and in my day, I couldn't do the language Armenian for the HSC. These days you can, and in my day, I had to go through the University of London to studying for the HSC or in fact studying the particular community language school or community language, but also potentially allow them to consider pursuing that at university. I want to deeply thank Sydney University because their reputation, their framework, their support and assistance will elevate the importance all of us give to the community language schools, and especially the 34,000 children who study within them. I also want to take this opportunity in particular to congratulate and thank Albert Vella and Michael Christodoulou for their advocacy over many, many years, because their advocacy in support of community language schools has ensured that government has always been listening and attentive, and we're pleased to be able to respond. I also want to acknowledge Dr Harry Harinath, who is here. He's Chair of Multiculturalism New South Wales, because we know and value the fact that so many of our students
that we could have as we now go through this process and embark on such a historic change in terms of community languages. Can I acknowledge our Premier, the Honourable Gladys Berejiklian, my ministerial colleague, the Honourable Victor Dominello, Damien Tudor-Hope and Dr Jeff Lee. Can I also acknowledge the traditional owners of this land on which we meet this morning. I would like to pay absolute tribute to the Federation of Community Languages, Albert Vella and Michael, who are here, who have very much paved the way. But I also, like the Premier, want to acknowledge the people, the parents and the teachers who each weekend give up their time on behalf of their embrace of another language. Your legacy will not just be borne out through these wonderful children, the many, many thousands of children that are today embracing a second language, but the legacy of the fact that you yourselves are giving back to our communities, you're giving back to society, and you are great leaderships and role models on behalf of these young people who, Premier, are the Honourable Victor Dominello, as you know, who have very much been a strong advocate and architect, but also Dr Jeff Lee, two people who have embraced this initiative and have certainly driven the way, and I very much feel like I've come in on the back of their shirt tails today. But of course, no greater role model and no greater leadership has been demonstrated than by our Premier herself, who was the great beneficiary of community languages schools. Can I acknowledge everyone that is here today, these lovely young people. They will be the legacy, your embrace of a second language, not only connecting with your cultural heritage, but the ability to be able to speak more broadly in a global sense will be a great benefit not only to our state but indeed to our country. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, Premier, Provost, Minister Williams, parliamentary colleagues, Federation of Community Languages, parents, teachers, students, what a great day. How good is this? Seriously, how good is this? Look where you are. You are here at Sydney University. And you know what you're about to see? You're about to see an amazing partnership in relation to community languages that has not been done anywhere in the country. Nowhere else. Only here in New South Wales, and that's because of the great partnership that we first had with the Federation of Community Languages. And I particularly like to pay credit to Albert Vella and Michael Christodoulou for all the great leadership and work they've done. And now because of the fantastic collaboration we now have with Sydney University. If this does not inspire you to learn language, I don't know what will. This is amazing. You're now going to have the benefit of Sydney University underpinning the teaching of language. And most
Australians, they may not hear the language at home, or if it is, it's mum speaking in the language and the kids answering in English. But when we spoke to those kids, they wanted to come to the school more than going to sport. They were happy, they were engaged. It was really interesting seeing. The teachers, volunteer teachers, many with university qualifications, spent their weekends making materials, teaching those students. The principal started the school 27 years ago, built it up from scratch. This is the story of many of the schools that you're here today, now more than 80.